Hello, and welcome back to the Clarity-2021 virtual workshop. This is the first international workshop on machine learning challenges for hearing aids. So it's a warm welcome from myself, Jon Barker, and from the co-organisers of this event. So that's Michael Ackroyd, Trevor Cox, John Culling, Simone Gretzer, and Graham Naylor. Before I start, I'd just like to say a few words about the background of this workshop and what we're here for today. Apologies to those who were at the tutorial yesterday who would have heard some of this before. So this workshop's been made possible by a large UK government research project, which has been funding 4 universities over a 5-year project, a project called Challenges to Revolutionize Hearing Device Processing. So this is a project that started back in 2019 and is going to run until September 2024. And the purpose of this project is basically to provide us funding to organize machine learning challenges and workshops to bring the community together. So there's a little bit of background. I mean, clearly hearing loss is a major and growing problem. We have 15 million people just in the UK with hearing loss, with an estimated economic cost of £30 billion a year. For hearing aids, speech and noise remains a major problem. So although hearing aids work very well when speech is noisy, a lot of noise in the background, they can be challenging conditions for hearing aid users. At the same time, in speech technology, machine learning is making huge advances. And over the last 10 years in particular, deep learning and end-to-end source separation have had a huge impact on the performance of things like ASR. So one of the aims of this project is to bring together people from the necessary communities to try and bring some of these benefits into the hearing sphere. So we're bringing together people from signal processing, from speech technology, from machine learning and hearing science. And hopefully by organizing these challenges, these competitions, we can broaden the base of researchers and bring new technologies into hearing. So this workshop has been supported by a large scientific committee, which has representation from the hearing aid industry, from universities. You can see we've had people from hearing science, from speech technology, machine learning. So this committee has allowed us to review the papers at quite short notice. So thanks to all of them, and to ensure that this project is going in the right direction. I also like to mention our sponsors. So first of all, the UKRI, who's actually funding the team that's actually making this kind of possible, but also to the Hearing Industry Research Committee, and Amazon Text-to-Speech, who have been on our steering committee, as has the Royal National Institute for the Deaf. They've been acting on the project steering committee, helping us to keep the research kind of relevant. And also the HRC and Amazon are providing financial prizes. So you'll see today there are prizes for challenge winners. And finally, ISCA, the International Speech Communication Association. This event is actually an official satellite event of Interspeech 2021. So in more normal times, this would have been a physical one-day workshop actually in the Czech Republic, which would have been very nice. But because of the current situation, we decided to move the thing online. We felt that having it in Czech Republic would have made it a little bit inaccessible to people who've got current travel restrictions. So moving it online, we've turned it into a 2-day event. One-day tutorial event, which we had yesterday, and today's workshop. So although it's a shame we can't all meet together, it has had certain advantages being online. It means we can keep the cost down, we can make the workshop and the tutorials more accessible. So we're basically making registration free. And that has really opened up the door to a lot of students who might not otherwise have been able to attend. So just on that note, a quick overview of the workshop. We've got 11 papers today. We've got 2 invited talks. Altogether, this is contributions from 55 different authors. We've got over 250 registered attendees. We don't expect them all to be attending necessarily at the same time because of time zones. And some people aren't actually in the UK time zone. But of those 250 attendees, about 70% are from academia, but we've also got 30% from kind of industry, hearing aid industry, and kind of healthcare. We've got participants joining from 5 continents, representing 32 different countries, and spanning 19 different time zones, from GMT -10 to GMT +9. So as you can imagine, that makes organisation a little bit tricky. There's going to be no one time zone which is perfect for everyone. So what we try to do is we split it into two events, the tutorial event and today's workshop. We've tried to keep those a little bit shorter. We've put it a little bit later in the day in the UK and going into the evening. So this is a kind of happy compromise, hopefully, for people in the US and for people out in Japan and China. So it's obviously a very early start for people on the west coast of the US, and it's going to be quite a late night for people out in China and Japan. A quick overview of the program. So we've got a couple of invited talks. The workshop's going to be kicked off by an invited talk from Barry Gibbs. We're very pleased to have him here today. He's a hearing aid user and an acoustician who's going to give us a real kind of first-hand account of what it's like to actually wear a hearing aid. We're then going to have the Clarity Challenge overview presentation. So the Clarity Challenge is the kind of the core of this workshop. This workshop is basically the kind of dissemination event for that challenge, where we'll be looking at the outcomes. So there'll be a talk talking about the baseline systems and overviewing the submissions. And then we've got two quite intense sessions on challenge papers. One concentrating more on techniques which have used explicit beamformers, and a later session on papers that haven't. We've got a couple of general papers after that, then kind of a break. And then we go into a kind of future perspective session. As I said yesterday, in our Clarity challenges, we started off with these very simple static scenes, but we're hoping to move forward into dynamic scenes. So I'm very pleased today that we've got Christine Evers here from the University of Southampton, who has been doing a lot of work with machine listening and dynamic environments and organizing challenges for tracking and locating sound sources in moving environments. So that should be very helpful for us going forward into our dynamic challenges. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our next challenge, which is this prediction challenge, which follows on from our enhancement challenge. So we'll hear more about that later. Then hopefully there'll be a short time for closing discussion, and then we'll close at 8 p.m. UK time. As I said, through the generosity of our sponsors, we are very pleased to be able to say that we've got prizes. So the Hearing Industry Research Consortium is offering prizes for the best Clarity Enhancement Challenge systems. As we'll describe later, there's actually two evaluations taking place. There's an objective measure based on this thing called MP-STOI, and there are listening test evaluations, and we have prizes available for each of those evaluations. And then we also have, thanks to the generosity of Amazon, an Amazon Student Prize, which has been awarded to student contributions to these systems. And that's going to be judged by a scientific committee during the day, and we'll announce those prizes at the beginning of the Future Perspectives session, around about 1845.